The realm of nature, buried in ash. In this one, we're going to be looking at Glossopteris trees, which archaeologists find, and today and all these kind of things, like accepted in modern science as petrified trees. So he's like showing you, I don't know, details of it and stuff like that, like rings and all these kind of things and stuff like. And the title of the video is "How tall did the Glossopteris trees grow?" It's a 16 meter, but maybe these are just branches which were going off, you know what I mean? Maybe they didn't grow into super big trees and all these kind of things and stuff like. But either way, this is an example of, like, the petrification again, without it being precious gems and all these kind of things. This camera's a bit blurry at the moment. So yeah, it's another example, but it goes on to show you the rest of the stump, rest of the trunk kind of thing, like. You can see, like, it's all down there on that channel kind of thing, like. So it's buried, like, between, the rock and stuff like, which is kind of like, is going along the lines of, like, sedimentary buildup, I think. But with the idea that everything got buried in ash, I mean, it's like, quite a lot of ash, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, if all of those trees, you know what I mean, there's hundreds, if thousands of, like, these giant trees that there would have been. And then for this massive layer of ash, you see all this, it's kind of like smooth, there's no detail in it and stuff like that kind of thing. So it's like potential that were the ash, like this part, and so that it needs to be buried, and it needs to be the petrification process. It has to be before it decays. So, you know what I mean, like the frog or any other organic matter which is going to get petrified and stuff. He's showing you it's the wood which is made of seam, and then the ash is buried around it. That's what I kind of see with it and stuff. And you see, like, all this is kind of like rubble, like, you can see this is wood. You know what I mean? You can see outlines and that lot. It looks like a valley or a canyon, you know what I mean? If you imagine, like, a river going down there or whatever and stuff. But this bit here, you see it's all smooth. Under this bit, you can see, like, there's all wood kind of pattern again. So it's like, it's all buried underneath it all and stuff. I did cover it in kind of like another video and stuff like, but previous ones. But let's got another example of it. Another stump there. You got this one again, buried kind of thing. It's like all the stuff around it. It just looks like rubble, you know what I mean? It's not like I couldn't identify it as, like, from being a petrified tree, as like the patterns and stuff. It's just like broken up bits of it between soil and sand and all this kind of stuff. Like, as this, it's in its perfect form and that lot. Completely buried. It even looks like it's like cement dust, you know what I mean? It's like caked into the end of it kind of thing, like. And again, this side, it's like full of, like, pebbly rocks and then sand and dirt again kind of thing. Again, obviously kind of petrified wood kind of thing, like. But amongst all this, which is, you know, basically buried in kind of thing, like. So yeah, 16 meters tall, it says. Oh, I think I said that, didn't I? It's an example of them trees. So things like this, you get like fossils which are kind of like, you know, it just looks like a pebble generally, and then kind of like, you know, the sea edge of it and stuff like that. And we'll see like, you know, this little tiny pattern, and the rest of it might be smooth, and it's really difficult to identify as having a fossil in it. But you know, these are quite obvious kind of thing, like. So you can see that the fossil's in them, you know what I mean? But basically it's a pebble, so it's not like a worn down piece of petrified tree, because otherwise it wouldn't really have like, you know, fossils inside it and stuff like. You'd be able to cut trees open today and, you know, find things ready to be fossilized inside them, and you know, that don't happen kind of thing, like. So how about, for example, even colour of it and stuff like that. Even texture at stone and stuff like. That's a bit better in colour and brightness. So yeah, it looks like it's like got like an ash pocket which has become, you know, cemented around it and stuff like. So it's like when all this, you know, the what do you call it? The extinction of like the Jurassic period, the climatic event or whatever they kind of label it like. If that was the fire, and then, you know, the giant trees are creating structure for the landscape because they are the landscape. You know what I mean? If they burn down, and then that's it. It's like suddenly we've got no strength to kind of keep that structure up. So parts of them are going to become loose break and all these kind of things, and then the landscape's going to have to structure itself upon its own weight. You know what I mean? Without like having like the intelligence of trees know how to balance, don't they? You know what I mean? So it's got like an intelligence there of how it'd grow and stuff like. So without that, once it, you know, the stages of a fire, you know what I mean? It's like a bit of the beginning, you know what I mean? It would have been, you know, it's filling the sky with smoke and all these kind of things and stuff like. Obviously, you know, once like everything, all branches and all these kind of things are kind of like more or less gone or whatever, and you've only got like volcano stumps left or whatever and stuff, then you've got like all the underground and stuff like that, all the underground fires that, you know, they go on for years and all these kind of things and stuff. So you've got all that changing structure. So every time, you know, it's like if it's buried in ash, it's got all these ash rain and all these kind of things and stuff, like constantly snowing ash whether it's raining or not and stuff. But and then you're gonna have like well, like I said, the landscape's gonna change. So every now and again, you know, it's like earthquakes basically. So if this part of tree, the support of this tree is now gone, then this part of area of land's gonna shift, or just simply in terms of like landslides and all these kind of things and stuff like. So then you're gonna get stuff like this. You're gonna get, you know, things that fall down hills and all these kind of things and stuff like, and then gather the ash and all that kind of stuff like. Or just get buried in ash which kind of falls upon it. You know what I mean, in that kind of sense. This is what it looks like, because it's like they brush it away, don't they? They brush the soft stuff away, and then it exposes the fossil underneath. And it's like, it's just a big pile of rock with an abundance of them in, you know what I mean? So it's one of them pebbles which will split. It's got a leaf inside it. Another good one with fish things. A crab. It's difficult to make out. I looked at that one. So, volcanic ash. We spoke about that before, just like as a reminder on how it can completely bury everything in that kind of way and stuff. So this is just from like one volcano, you know what I mean? If like, if it were as bad as like all the volcanoes going off at once, no, not just all of them. It's like every single mountain, you know what I mean? It'd be a volcano in that kind of sense. Damage it does as well. I showed you that on previous videos. But the amount of ash, I don't know, it's because like I say, it's just from one volcano, isn't it? So so when you got stuff like this as well, you got all your columns, but then you got all this which looks like rubble on top in a way. It was like a randomness to it. Although at that point there, you got it repeats its continuity again. So, or thinking, has this been buried in ash? Like this was the tree, and then this is like the result of. I mean, I don't know how many years it would have been going on, this fire, you know what I mean? For it to like, be a plain wide fire in that kind of sense and stuff. It might have been in sections and eventually, but again, you got more markings there and stuff like that. So it's like if that could have been a branch which landed down, but how was it getting between here? Or I don't know. It could have been how it burnt out and it was still buried or whatever and stuff like. Again, you got it there. You see all. It's like rubble. It's like a different texture and stuff. You see columns come out there, so they could have still been there like years ago, and it's kind of like water's worn it away or something like that, maybe. I don't know, because it's so random. You can just see like individual rocks in a way and stuff like. So it potentially is just like the rubble from like the ash wasteland and stuff like. So like I said, like, buried in ash, like everything that's like, kind of like a big form of like how things were kind of petrified and stuff. I mean, unless I were wrong and it was like how it grew, you know what I mean? Because you can see them patterns up there again, can't you? I think it might be the same place, but you know how it's come up here, has it grown on top of? I don't know, but it's like we start to question and stuff, kind of thing, like. But I don't know. I've got to be open-minded to it in terms of like what it is and stuff. This is just a bit bonus. I found this tree stump whilst looking around on like a fossil site and stuff. And you watch the shape of it, you know what I mean? As it like you've got all, you know, everything coming round and stuff like that kind of thing, and then you've got that there. That's another angle. There's art layers and stuff. Oh, or something else. I like it a bit colour. It still looks fresh in that kind of sense and stuff. It's like, you know, is it because the tree grew that way, or did the water carve the path? You know what I mean? It's a bit of a question in a way, because you follow them lines in a way and stuff like that. But you see that line follows it. It depends. It might have come across, you know what I mean? But the colours are a lot different. There's a lot less plant life on old map. It's like, you know, does it look more woody? You know what I mean? I don't know where I can see camera colour. I was going to show you. I like the buried in ash and stuff. See, you've got like these, we're assuming trees, got to be trees, you know what I mean? There's no else there could be in that kind of way. And then you got all this flat land in between. You see tree, I mean, there's got loads of debris, which is like, you know, falling down to the side and stuff like, and then this flat area. So if all the smoke and ash is spread for miles and miles and miles, you know, and it would have been really thick for years, you know what I mean? So it would have laid and laid and laid. So it's like, you know, just like loads and loads of snow until, you know, it kind of flattens it out in a sense and stuff. And then following up with, you know, the trees aren't there anymore, so the need for the water and moisture and all these kind of things, it's, you know, it's suddenly, it's got nowhere to go kind of thing, like, so, you know, that you know, with floods and rain and all that kind of stuff, like, to flatten it out and that kind of thing. It's really, it's like big trees have grown, you know what I mean? It's like, well, where's the base of this tree and stuff like that? Or is it like connected to all of these? Is that all of that just one tree, you know? And how deep does that go? So it's like all the area around the tree it's the remains of the trees, isn't it, and stuff like that kind of thing. So as that's kind of like burying itself, it's giving itself structure and all that kind of stuff. Like, so it's like, well, where's all this come from? It's come from the trees, but for it to create it flat, it doesn't really, it's gonna like it has to have other aspects of things like the ash rain and smoke, all ash coming down and all that kind of stuff like, and then your floods and all that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, that's a bit more on ash waste side of things and stuff like. Um, I'll leave it at that for now. Nice one. Cheers.